How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Chalk and Squawk. Today we're saying why we want to be teachers. Why do we want to be teachers? We're going to find out today.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. The bird's a winner. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird is a winner. Well, a...
All right. I'm going to speak on my story first. But first we got to say the winning comment for naming the bear was... Leroy! All right. Let me lock in real quick because I'm about to get a little bit deep with this story. So the reason I want to be a teacher is that my mom told me to.
Oh my god.
I'm just yanking you.
Cut that.
I couldn't agree more.
All right.
That's horrible.
Real talk though. So the real reason that I wanted to become a teacher was, I'd say the main reason is that I value fulfillment and passion when it comes to a career. Because no matter what your career is as a human being, what job you're going to be working your whole life, it's basically a home away from home. And it needs to be something you're happy doing. And no matter what the pay is, no matter what reasons there may be to not be a teacher, as there are many, don't get me wrong, I think that what I value, they're laughing, but I'm being serious. What I value is passion and fulfillment. And I love helping others. School is also like a home away from home for their students, so it's really important they have good role models. And that's reason one, I would say. The other reason is school for me growing up wasn't necessarily a happy place for me, as I would say. I've heard a lot of people, just like in our classes, just around who are teachers, say that they want to become a teacher because it was like their happy place. Maybe there was some issues at home they had going on that made school be great for them, or maybe they just genuinely do have a love for learning. And I love learning and I love teaching, but school necessarily wasn't the best place, mostly due to my undiagnosed ADHD that I had until junior year of high school. So being in that classroom, sitting in one classroom for hours at a time and trying to focus and not really being able to communicate to people that this just isn't how I learn was really frustrating as a kid, because I knew that in me I had the capabilities to be an excelling student. And the reason I went undiagnosed for so long was because my parents kind of built the discipline in me to be able to be on grade level my whole life while still having these struggles. And that's why I don't really blame any of my teachers for not noticing it, or even my parents for necessarily for not noticing it until high school. But it is definitely a little bit, it was frustrating in school, to say the least. So yeah, and relating it to why I want to be a teacher, I want to make school a place for fun and learning for all students, because I really do not think that we need to make school a place where learning is not fun. I've seen many teachers be able to turn school into a great place for students. My students in my classroom right now, they all love it. They all talk about how they love their teacher. I have an amazing student teacher, and I'm learning so much on how I can make the classroom a great place for my students as well. And then the last reason I would say, which is what got me into special education, is in high school I did unified sports. I also work at a camp for kids with disabilities. It's the only free camp for children with disabilities in the entire country, according to them, which is awesome. It's called Camp John J. Nurden. It is a great place. It is one of my favorite places on earth. We have like 400 kids with disabilities, and they come every day for camp, and they all love it so much, and all the staff love it so much, and it really just made me grow so much passion for special education. And yeah, those are my reasons for becoming a teacher. Moving on.
So, I was almost a psych major. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew that I enjoyed learning about the brain, and that was it. I had no career aspirations, so it was just kind of go to college, study psychology, figured out sometime before graduation. And so I had a slight interest in education. I grew up coaching. In high school, I played field hockey and lacrosse, and I coached youth field hockey and lacrosse throughout high school and a little bit in college. And I was always kind of like, okay, yeah, like, I could be a teacher. Like, it was more in the back of my brain, though. I don't really know why, but it was, like, never something I really saw myself doing, necessarily. But my senior year of high school, my high school had a thing where you had to get, like, a certain number of volunteering hours to graduate. And one of the elementary schools in my district, like, let, like, the seniors come in after our high school was over and kind of volunteer within the school. So I originally started out as a volunteer in the library. That's just where they put me. And it was, like, chill. Like, I just put books away. It wasn't really anything crazy. But then they were like, you know what? Actually, we're going to move you to Miss Corey's room. And so as I'm walking there, I ran into my mom's friend, or not my mom's friend, my friend's mom, who's a teacher at that school as well. And she asked me where I was going. When I told her, she was like, oh, like, good luck. As it turns out, Miss Corey's room was a 3rd through 5th grade self-contained special ed classroom. I didn't know that until I stepped foot. And I was a little bit nervous because, you know, they didn't tell me anything. I didn't really know much about, you know, any sort of disabilities. It wasn't something that I was used to being around, especially children, because my only experience working with children before then was in a coaching and sports environment. So I was definitely nervous, but I kind of just jumped right in. I was more so there to, like, kind of prompt the kids to stay on track. And the head teacher in that classroom, shout out to her, honestly. Shout out Elizabeth Corey, Janae Elementary, because she's so awesome. She genuinely, like, inspired me so much, and I saw myself, like, I was like, I want to be her when I grow up. And, like, it was either later that day or the next time I came in, she, like, pulled me aside and she was like, hey girl, listen, don't know what your plans are post-grad, but, like, you, like, this is your calling. Like, she kind of, like, sat me down and was like, I can see you doing this. Like, you have a really, like, good gift already, like, not even knowing these kids, like, you're working so well with them. And that really solidified, like, my thought of, like, okay, like, yeah, I could be a teacher. And then as I got more experience in classrooms and learning, and, like, learning about, like, more educational psychology, because I still do have a major interest in psych, it, like, really made me realize, like, how fascinating learning is and all the different types of learning and, like, the different methods of learning and how to assess it. I found, like, I find it so interesting. I still do. And it really just made me more and more excited to become a teacher. And, like, I can tell you right now, like, my friends in, like, engineering or business, they're not excited for their jobs. They're excited for the money that comes with it. And that's what I think is so special about becoming a teacher, is because I'm excited for the work that I'm going to be doing. And I know the pay isn't the best. But, you know, I'm not in it for the money, really. I'm in it for, you know, the sense of fulfillment that I get, similar to what Brady said, and kind of, like, the calling that I felt. And especially, like, seeing the kids improve. Like, I think noticing improvement and, like, the details have been something that I would say is a strength of mine. Noticing, like, just paying attention to the details, which helps me learn, like, notice the strengths and improvements of my students. And, like, even my, like, kids that I coached in lacrosse and field hockey, like, I was able to be like, oh wow, like, you know, your, like, cradle's looking better for lacrosse. Like, just, like, the smaller details and, like, celebrating the wins and, you know, like, the small improvements, really, it makes me feel so fulfilled. It makes the students feel so fulfilled. And it's really just such an amazing moment. Thank you.
So, I've pretty much known I've wanted to be a teacher since I was in, like, kindergarten. Like, I've known for a long time. But the reasons have all changed. Originally is because, like, I honestly wanted to grade papers because I like.
That's
like,
valid. Low-key. I love grading papers. I love grading papers. My teacher all the time.
I love like checking off like what was right.
making anchor
with
charts.
red. Okay, I don't know
Also
about that.
valid. Also valid, truly.
And like, especially in like 3rd and 4th grade, I liked going. My school, I went to a very small Catholic school, so our like advanced program was just like 5 of us sitting in the corner teaching ourselves math. So we got to grade our own papers as opposed to the teacher grading it, and we would decide if we were to move on to the next test if we understood the content, which definitely is an interesting way to learn, and probably not the best way.
Is that allowed?
It's a Catholic school, so
You're
a lot of things
your own
have-
thing there.
I like grading papers. Obviously, that is not why I want to be a teacher anymore, because that's just wouldn't make any sense. But as long as I can remember, I like have coached for a long time. I think the first team I helped coach was when I was in 5th grade. I helped coach my sister's soccer and basketball team. So I've always been around like kids and coaching even when I was still a kid. So I've known a part of me. I've always wanted to work with kids. I didn't necessarily know that was teaching, but since kindergarten I wanted to be a teacher, so I kind of just like stuck with it throughout my whole life. And then when I hit 7th through freshman year of high school, I went through a really hard time with transitions from a Catholic school to a public school, then into high school. And let's just say the district I transferred into was not very ethnically diverse. So changing schools was not the easiest time in my life. The teachers were not a big help for me either. They kind of just told me to ignore it. Some of the teachers were kind of part of the problem. So it was just a hard time, and I don't want any future student that I might have to go through the similar experiences I personally went through, because it really was a rough time in my life. I don't want any student going through the same situations I went through from that standpoint. If you're experiencing a lot of hard outside factors, you're not going to be able to focus on your academics as a student, and I know it became hard for me, so I don't want any student going through that because it is a very hard situation. Another reason why I wanted to go into teaching is because my mom has always worked with adults with disabilities. She's a supervisor in a West Haven community house. So I've always been around the community since I was like probably 5. I've been going to fundraisers for her job as a nonprofit. And I've always just been in that space. So while growing up with that, it just always was in the back of my mind. I want to help people. I don't want to have a job that makes me feel dead inside. I want to like care and know that what I'm doing is helping people. And then when I was a senior in high school, I had the opportunity to go to the Special Olympics down in Florida, and that was just such a surreal experience, seeing like how big the special education and Special Olympics community is, because yeah, you hear about it, and sometimes it's just like a logo you see places, but you don't realize that how many people are like a part of this community. And I met probably hundreds of people that I'm still in contact with. So once I came back from Florida, the Special Olympics, I knew that's what I wanted to do in the future, and it really just made me feel confident going into college, knowing that I'm on the right path.
So, to talk about why I want to be a teacher, I'm just going to go into a little lore, backstory about myself. So, I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, it's a country in the Caribbean. For most of my life, actually, for most of my time there in primary and secondary, we don't have middle, high, and whatever. I was in a private school, a very prestigious and kind of affluent private school, and it made academics really competitive. And I'll be honest, I really enjoyed learning, but also in the same time too, I was almost more of a chore, and like, it was very rigorous. There was a lot of competitiveness and a lot of social hierarchy going on. The environment itself, I'll be honest, I did like it, but eventually I did change. I moved up here into the States to Springfield, and to be real with you, the change in resources and all that sort of stuff was drastic. There was not a lot of resources, not a lot of teachers who really cared. I mean, I remember some teachers basically just telling kids to like, kick rocks. So that was kind of crazy to me because at least in those experiences in my primary and secondary, the teachers were on top of their stuff all the time, 24/7. They were best in my opinion. And even at that point in time in Springfield, I didn't want to be a teacher. I'll be honest. I didn't choose, or I didn't have the inkling of being a teacher until my senior year of high school, where I had quite a lot of free time because I didn't really have any classes. I only had to take one in my senior year, so I just kind of messed around a little bit. And my vice principal, she told me, you should really TA this class. It will be fun, and you could also incorporate it to another class I was taking at the time. It was just a research thing, so I was like, okay, this would be pretty fun. This would be enjoyable, and it was. I actually loved it. It was, like I said previously in last episode, it was a bio class I TA'd, and I love sciences, but I also really loved teaching sciences. It made such a joy to me when I was able to like lead class or help my teacher, or even just see the students in my class like really grasp the content, because I was doing the things that people have done for me in the past. And I think that really struck out to me, because that's what being a teacher is. You are putting your livelihood, your own ideas, everything of that nature into these students. You are building these people up to change the world for the future. When I'm 50, they're gonna be my age, or how old they would be, and they're gonna be making choices, they're gonna be doing amazing things. So I think being that teacher, being that person, is really, it makes the biggest impact. I'll be honest, even then, I still, like I remember decision day came, what was it, when I graduated? 2022. I honestly was not gonna pick Hartford, because it's the only school I chose to be a teacher. I chose education. I was not gonna pick it. Granted, I did have some other personal thing going on at that time, and I realized I didn't care for like money or this or that. I wanted to make a difference. I think that is the biggest thing that I could do with my life, is that I will affect I want to affect every single student I have in my class, but also the classes next to me, classes above me, classes below me. I want to make an impact. That's my biggest thing. That's what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, I just want to make that impact, and I think we as people, as humans, we have to just inspire and be better. And I think teachers are that position. They're that role. And yeah, they're underappreciated. Yeah, they're overworked. But damn, it's amazing. I won't lie. I love seeing the impact it has. Like I remember that bio class, from the beginning of the semester to the end of the semester, it was drastic. And because there were ninth graders who were coming into my own high school that I really loved as well, despite all its issues, despite the resources, whatever, it was amazing to see that they were really not just grasping it for academic achievement or to say I have the best grade in the class. It was that they loved the curriculum. They were able to apply to their own lives. And I think that's the biggest thing to me. Nice. Wow, no clap, guys. We gotta stay.
Yeah, Justin.
So I didn't really know what I wanted to do. My senior year of high school, I was committed to the University of Hartford for theater, and I'm still graduating with that same degree. But go Hawks! But I didn't really teach anything ever, and then it was my senior musical, and I was able to choreograph it, and that was my first like real experience like teaching people something that I enjoy doing. And I remember it being, I think it was our closing night, and we do like little senior speeches, like it's a high school. And I remember just like looking at the people that I had taught, and I like just remember sobbing and then being like, I might need to rethink my entire life. I think I really like teaching. I think I really like, I don't know, it's everyone that I worked with, they were able to intake what I was teaching them and wanting to be better, not only for me and for the production, but because of their own will and want to just be better. And thank you, Brady. And that was just a feeling and an experience that I'd never had before. I remember going home and being like, oh man, I might have to, like, I don't, like, and that being like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life now anymore, because I love theater, and I always will love theater. But, lower drop, I grew up in Germany, and I did kindergarten through 4th grade there. And it was incredibly hard, and it was horrible, and the way the German school system worked, my class was the last one to be affected by this. Get this. So basically, 4th grade, your teacher decides for you, your parents have zero input what's going to happen in your life. Your options are, you're going to go on to middle school, then you're going to go to high school, and then you're going to go to college. Option number 2, you are going to finish middle school. Maybe if you do better in middle school, you might be able to go to college, but they're going to send you to a trade school. Or number 3, screw all of that, you're not even worth that, and you're gonna finish middle school and you're gonna go straight into like whatever job they can put a 16-year-old in. Unfortunately, my grades weren't very good, and so I remember my mom, when I was old enough, telling me that the decision that they had made for me based off of my grades was to put me straight into the workforce, and that my teacher apparently told my mom, oh, it's okay, because Germany needs people to clean the streets too.
That's true.
So
that's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So thankfully it's not how they operate anymore, and now the parents do get a say. And the teacher just recommends it. Whatever. And then I came to the US, and it was hard because I very much had an accent, and people were kind of like all telling me what I had to be and how I had to fit in. And like, school was fine, I had a good experience, but it wasn't really until I had an AP history teacher my sophomore year who was truly the only person who, when I was talking about being able to have people be like self-motivated and have that want to be better come from them, the only time that I genuinely was able to feel that was through this history teacher, because I have no interest in history. I had no interest in AP World History. I don't care. But it was because of just the way that he was and the way he taught his class and the way that he had a passion for us to just be better, made me push myself really, really hard, and it's the best academically that I've ever done. So ever since that, I look back at the people that I was able to teach this dance to, and they live alongside me with everything I do, and all the little kids that I teach now, I see them, and I kind of, especially with kids who are learning English as a second language, I see myself as them, and I see what a lot of current older teachers are telling them and how they're treating them, and I think, I don't know, I think education should be a right. Education it's a privilege, but it should be a right equally granted to everyone, no matter where you come from and what you do, and I want to be able to facilitate that on. Yes.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of Chalk and Squawk. Next week, we will be discussing extracurriculars and their importance to students at a young age. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Boom!
Like and subscribe.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird's a winner. Well,